For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Dr. Lizy Celestine ma'am with us, and she is the author of Hey You, We Need to Talk. Thank you so much ma'am for coming on our show. I'm truly grateful कि आप हमारे show पर आए.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for inviting me. I'm extremely happy and honored to be here.
Likewise, ma'am. So those who don't know, this is the second time of ma'am हमारे podcast पे से पहले भी आ चुके हैं 2023. But you guys are really new, so that's why we thought कि क्यों ना एक बार podcast record किया जाए, कुछ नए questions, कुछ नई बातें की जाए. So welcome to our show, ma'am, once again.
Thank you so much.
And so ma'am, like before we get into the podcast and know much more about your book, about your upcoming projects and other things, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you, and do share how you started this writing journey.
Definitely. Hey everyone. It's so lovely to meet you all on this Reading the Author podcast. So I'm Dr. Lizy Celestine. I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur, educationist, and a therapist too. So I have started my life dreaming about being an aviation professional. So that's how I ended up being an aerospace engineer. And then I have done my MBA and then started my own business. And it's been quite a decade, I can say, me being with the corporate world. And then someday, finally, I have decided that, okay, this corporate world is just taking a toll on me. So I thought, why not retire when I'm 30? And writing has always been my passion. So I just thought, okay, I'll just sit. I'll pen down a lot of thoughts that have been coming to me, a lot of topics, that I thought it would have been so much better if somebody spoke about. So I started writing it down, and that's how Hey You, We Need to Talk evolved.
Okay. So, ma'am, after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to explore this book, because of the sarcastic title tone is there, what I personally feel. And
sarcasm. Yeah, the title itself is sarcastic, or I feel I can say that I just wanted my reader to know that I am specifically and personally trying to talk to them through this book.
Yeah. Okay. So, listeners will definitely understand this point, and they love to, explore this book. They might be interested in buying and reading it too. So, talking from a new reader's perspective, what a new reader can expect from this book? Can you share some insights?
Well, any new reader who must be thinking that, this is just another self-help book, maybe I'd get a lot of advice on life. I know I'd say that, you are wrong about it. This is a book that will deal with every single insecurity, worry, fear, or every single thing that you go through in life day in and day out. And we will also be discussing as in how to get through this with a little bit of sarcasm and humor.
Okay. But when it comes to talking about the acknowledgement, what was the main reason behind such a sarcastic acknowledgement you wrote in your book?
Acknowledgement, in fact, I believe I have even acknowledged the aliens out there. Being an aerospace engineer, not acknowledging aliens, I felt it would be very bad and they'd feel left out. But either way, I just wanted, every single person that I have acknowledged, might have a code name in my acknowledgement, but they're real people. So we have given code names for them, and that's how I acknowledge them, rather than acknowledging them as real, just to make them understand that life is not too serious always,
Okay.
So that's the reason for the very funny and sarcastic acknowledgement. But all the insults and all the sarcasm that was given in the acknowledgement is absolutely true, though. I really mean every point.
Okay. So when it comes to writing this particular book, ma'am, Hey You, what was the biggest challenge you have faced? Because, there must be a lot of time when you was thinking कि okay हो पाएगा नहीं, ये कैसे होगा, या ये लिखूं या ना लिखूं. So what was one of those biggest challenges you faced while writing, and how did you overcome that?
Honestly, the biggest challenge was that, my inner voice was very loud. Okay. I really wanted to sit and I really wanted to write down those things that people don't talk about, people don't discuss with their parents about, or people don't even share with their friends.
Okay.
That inner voice was really loud, but the world around me was very silent. Nobody wanted to talk about these topics. Nobody wanted to discuss about this. But then I was wondering, like, is anyone even going to read this? Like, we are talking about such simple topics in life, like love, judgmental world, sadness, grief, a lot of things, success, failure. So would anyone even read this? This is not a regular self-help book, that people know about. So people who are picking this book out, must be looking at something very new. So I'm like, will it even, will somebody even look at this book? Will somebody even pick it out? So, that was a kind of a thought, that was running in my mind while I was writing it. But then I just somehow overcame it, by, shifting my focus. I'm like, forget about whether they like it or not, but what should they hear? What do they need to hear? That reassurance that I wanted to give to them, the reassurance or the words that I wanted to say to each and every individual in the whole world. I'm like, I'm going to write it down, pen it down, put it out in the world, publish it, and let the world have access to what I wanted to say. So first, let me do my job. Like, I wanted to say this to the world, let me say this. And later on, maybe, we'll think about whether they wanted to read it or not. So that was the biggest challenge, actually. Should I write it down was the biggest question I had. And then I ended up that, okay, I'm going to write it down and put it out in the world and let everything take its own shape.
Definitely, because thinking too much before releasing it is a kind of thing that definitely kills the creativity, what I feel.
Absolutely.
Okay, but ma'am, like, what was your inspiration to tackle such a wide range of topics in the book, like from relationships to mysteries of the afterlife thing? Like, what was the main reason behind capturing so much of wider topics?
See, because life is not compartmentalized, right? It's not like we wake up one day only dealing with self-esteem or self-worth, or we wake up the next day only thinking about death or birth, or we wake up the other day dealing with just one single emotion. It's not like that. Our emotions are messy, very messy. Our questions that we have for ourselves are very tangled, and we live in layers and layers and layers of emotions and like thoughts. So I wanted this book to feel like a mirror. Because we don't go through one emotion at a time. Like, in one entire day, we might go through a lot of things. We might be happy in the morning. We might have a bit of grief in the afternoon. We might be upset in the evening, or, we go through a lot of things throughout the day. Okay. So I wanted this book to just feel like a mirror and not like a manual. So, that reason, like, I've decided, like, let me cover all the topics, all the wide range of topics about everything that we feel. This book is just a reflection of what we feel in day out. So the reason of such wide range of topics is because of this, that I wanted it to be like a mirror of our life.
Okay. So ma'am, like, in which year this book was released?
This book was released, I think, 2 years ago. That's 2023.
Okay, so as we talked about the perspective of a new reader, ma'am, like what they can expect from this book. Now it's been 2 years, and now let's get back to the people who have already read a book and they are eagerly waiting, desperately waiting, okay, what's next from Dr. Lizy? So talking from a perspective who have already read a book. So what's in the pipeline? Like, are you writing something? You want to experiment a bit on some other genres too? You want to stick to these only? Is there anything in the pipeline as of now?
Well, I can say that, I have been thinking about it for a couple of years. As soon as I've released the first book, Hey You, everybody asked me, a sequel would be really good for it because, you covered a wide range of topics and there could be more in life too. So a lot of people who read my book said that, let's dig deeper into, many other issues, many other psychological issues, or, have a sequel that really talks about a lot of mental health problems and stuff like that. So I thought maybe that sequel would work, but again, I didn't want to, as my tone of writing the book is always sarcastic and humor, and I cannot put in so much of humor into real mental health issues, because the people who are suffering, they would definitely need a proper treatment and medication. So I do not really want to bring in humor out of that. So I'm considering that this time I'm gonna really take a toll on the corporate life. This time I'm just working on a book where I'm really gonna rip the corporate life into pieces in the upcoming book. So we are gonna talk about work culture, work toxicity, and everything that happens in a corporate life. So I'll be even I'll be even giving a very sarcastic tone about bosses and employees and our colleagues and what they do and how we live in a corporate life and how to just take it in a easier way and just go through it.
Okay. So, ma'am, as I've talked about the perspective of a new reader, now we have talked about the person who already read the book. Now, coming to the part, okay, let's say, because I have been in conversation with more than 450 to 500 authors, and what I have personally seen and felt that, most of them are trying to be known, trying to be remembered as a certain genre, as a certain type of author. They want to be fit in a kind of template, what I feel. So when it comes to you, okay, let's say आज से 3 से 4 साल बाद एक दो बुक जिस इंसान ने आपकी पढ़ी है, and they see कि it's a new book by Dr. Lizy. So what impact you want to create on that reader's mind? क्योंकि मैम की बुक है, ऐसी होगी, ये पढ़ने को मिलेगा, ऐसी वाइब होगी, इस टाइप की होगी. Ever thought about these things from a personal branding perspective, ma'am?
See, I never wanted to create an impact personally on any person or or as a brand. The only impact I wanted to create is on their lives. So if they pick up my book and if they read it, the only thing I want them to remember is that they are not alone, and we are here to support them, and there are a lot of ways that they can get through what they're going through, and there is some author who has just shed light on these sensitive topics. That's all I want them to remember. I'm not trying to create a brand here or a genre, because life isn't just one thing. So life isn't just humor, or life isn't just sorrow or sadness or anything else. So life is a mixture of everything. So I'm ready to take up the challenge, not by fitting into something, some kind of a genre, but I want to stand out. So I want the readers to understand that, this series of books that are going to come up in the future, that they can expect it. It's not like, okay, it's coming from Lizy, so this is what you can expect. No, that's not how it is. I wanted to talk about everything that I want to tell a reader about. So it could be from a different genre, it could be from a different thought process altogether. So I just want the book to reach their hearts. I just want whatever is written in them to kind of help them out with something that they're going through, or maybe change something that is already going on in their lives, or create an impact. That's all.
Okay. So probably this is what you want people to take away from Hey You as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So my next to you of this podcast is there a particular chapter in your book that you relate to the most? And if yes, then why like that?
See, there is one chapter I have written, let go.
Okay.
So let go. So it's not a very easy thing. Whatever we have with us, letting go of expectations or letting go of people, or the identity that we have created, it's very painful. So, you cannot just let go of a friend in a day just
Agree.
because they're not being, they're being toxic to your relation or something, or you cannot just buy something today and just let go of it, the next day because, you are attached to that materialistic thing. So, letting go is something which is very painful, but it's freeing. It frees your mind, it frees your heart. So, that particular chapter is related to every one of us because we keep hanging on to things that we should not be hanging on to. We keep carrying that baggage that we shouldn't be carrying on. Letting go of that baggage, letting go of that toxicity in our life can set us free and can let us move forward. So, and every time I say not only about the readers but even myself,
Mm-hmm.
every time life throws a curveball on me, I go back and revisit to that chapter,
Mm.
and that helps me in letting go of things that are not needed in my life or that don't add value to my life at the moment.
Hmm.
Letting go and then moving on.
So, ma'am, as you shared in your introduction, that you are an author, entrepreneur, educator, and therapist as well, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
probably a question from that I want to also ask to you, that
Uh-huh.
what do you do to maintain a work-life balance? Because especially when you're managing 4 to 5 roles every day, or
Yes.
probably most of the time. So, how do you manage work-life balance with such a busy schedule?
See, I don't chase balance. I don't go behind it.
Okay.
I design it. Now, how
Okay.
do I design
Means.
it? Is like I prioritize my energy over time. So I have learned to say no.
Mm.
I have learned the importance of silence. I have learned the importance of taking rest. So I have learned the importance of unplugging when I have to.
Mm.
And I never apologize for choosing peace over productivity.
Mm. The most
So
important
work
thing.
and life, yes, work and life for me should go hand in hand. Now the balance for it, you say that you cannot be balancing both at 50-50% like every single day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some days that your work might take over your life for for some more time,
Mm-hmm.
or there might be some days like where prioritizing your life over work would be more important.
So,
So you don't have to chase the balance of like having 50-50, but designing it would be much more productive is what I say.
that's truly inspiring, ma'am, and definitely जो भी लोग सुन रहे होंगे and they are into such kind of trouble of because what I also feel that sometimes the word work life balance itself is very much hyped, because people
Very
are
much, very much. Yes.
definitely they are just working both has to be balanced, but definitely it is something that one needs more attention sometimes and one need less, so
Yes,
that can the
yes.
other can compromise some other time, right?
Exactly. You don't have to balance it every single day, just
Hmm.
like balancing it in, on a weighing scale that, like,
uh,
this much has to be done today, that much has to be
True.
done today. You can prioritize, based on your energy level that day.
Hmm.
Like, you are more energetic towards work, like, be more productive in that area and do something great. So, the day you feel low, you want to prioritize your life and, take some time out and, just revisit your life and, probably unwind, unplug, and, like, get some more energy.
Hmm.
You can focus on your life for that day.
Hmm.
So there is no need to chase balance. You don't have to run behind balance every day,
Hmm.
but rather you can design it according to your lifestyle.
So, ma'am, like, as it's been 2 years, but let's get back to the time when you heard, कि, okay, tomorrow your book will be live. Everybody will be able
Yes.
to judge it, read it, buy it, judge,
Yes.
judge it, because I said, because, the most of the people think and they assume that author is writing something that he or she must be thinking, a kind of mirror,
Yes.
a reflection they are thinking, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when it comes to that particular evening, what was going on your mind? Like, were you excited, relaxed? You just, marked up some milestones कि ठीक है इतने लोग जानते हैं book has to be sold out these many copies. It has to perform
No.
like that. What was going on in your mind?
Purely silence, I can say.
Hmm.
The day I understood that the very next day my book is going live on Amazon, people on Amazon, Flipkart, everywhere can actually order my book. I had a complete silent day. No thoughts at all. I was not worried. I was not tensed, I didn't actually set up any milestone saying that, like, I should market it, I should, sell 100 copies, 1,000 copies or a million copies by these days. The only thing I only patiently waited is that, let me hear, if somebody says that this book is worth it, or this book has transformed me, or I'm happy that I purchased this book. So I was only waiting to hear that. But the moment the first copies are out and the copies have reached my friends, family, my students, and my colleagues, after hearing their response, I was overly satisfied. I'm like, yeah, this is all I wanted to hear. I'm like, they all said that, like, most of them who read that said that, like, this is life changing. So this thought process, if we would have had in our life, like, every single hurdle would have been just a stepping stone, and, like, we would have just lived our life, happily. So this book has the potential to change it. And in fact, the very best compliment I have, not a compliment, I can say, a very a great gesture was from my very friend who was a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So he's a psychiatrist and he's a practicing psychiatrist. And once the book is released, like, he got a copy of it. And he found that book to be extremely helpful to his patients, that, he purchased a lot of copies with his own money. And he started giving out those copies to every single patient who came and visited him. And the one day, very recently, 2 days ago, like, he texted me. He's abroad right now. He texted me saying that, Lizy, one of my patients, read your entire book and they have thanked me for giving them such a wonderful book that, it helped them, reshape their lives. So he was like, Lizy, I'm so happy for the work that you're doing and I'm proud of you. So I'm like, done. This is all I need. I don't need anything else. I don't need 1 million, 2 million copies to be sold or anything. But the impact that it creates is more than enough for me.
True. Okay, so probably my last question to of this podcast, ma'am, like, after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to, start writing, or they might be holding their first draft in the laptop, diary, in the notebook.
Yes.
So what would be your advice for those upcoming authors?
Let it go. Let go. Start doing it. Let go of your worries. Stop worrying about it. No matter whatever it is. See, even my book started on a piece of tissue paper, I can say.
Oh.
Like, the thoughts that I was getting, what should I write about? So I was just sitting and I was jotting down, somewhere sitting in a restaurant, that, this is something that, I might have to talk about. So, there is, I can say that, no word or, no thought is ever undervalued. Every thought is precious. Everything any person, human being thinks about does have its own impact. If not on me, it might impact you. A sentence that I say or a word that I say, it might not be anything for yourself, but it might be something for somebody else. So whatever you feel like writing, don't ever let anything stop you down. Like, you can be bold, you can be raw, you can be liberating, just write it. So let the world decide, if they wanted to adapt this or not.
Definitely.
But as far as your life is concerned, you can always just do whatever your heart feels like and liberate yourself from that feeling that, if in case maybe after 10 years you'll be like thinking, oh, I wish I would have written that. Let's not have any baggage with us.
Exactly. I agree.
So let go of all the insecurities and just write
go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely and inspiring conversation with Lizy ma'am. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. आप just Amazon पे जाएं, वहाँ पे सर्च करें Lizy Celestine, या फिर आप सर्च कर सकते हैं Hey You, We Need to Talk. बुक आ जाएगी. ज़रूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने चाहने वाले, जानने वालों के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. It was my honor to host you today.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure.